Can hear you just fine, Bob.
Okay, awesome. So, hi everybody. Thanks for coming. Nice to see you again, Annika and Michael. And
hi.
Hi.
Most unconscious here. Annika, you?
How's everybody doing?
Good. Still sleepy.
That's great.
I'm safer looking into the hippopotamus.
Be
I
Hope,
don't want to see what's going on this end.
Be Hope is going to share some of her work. She's in her studio here, so she's going to show us some of her projects she's working on and her finished work as well. Let's see here. I'm trying to make sure we have everybody there. Okay, good. All right, Bob. So what are you going to show us today?
Okay, so today I'm going to just kind of show you guys a mix of what I like to make. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I make first. So I like working with a lot of different mediums. I like to do kind of sculpting, mixed media, kinetic art, which I make out of things that I collect. I kind of scavenge the roads where I live because I don't like seeing all the trash that's out there, and a lot of it isn't actually trash. You can turn it into things that are really, really unique and kind of beautiful, in my opinion. So let me show you some of those that I've got here. Okay, I'm not sure how this is going to work. So here, see here if I can just flip my
I would shoot the
camera. I can flip it. Look at this. Oh, I am such a technocrat. Okay, so here is the first one I ever made, which is a little blurry, but this is actually, I like collecting around. There's a highway and a library near where I live, and people will literally throw books away, which makes me very, very sad. But I like to collect the books, and they're all waterlogged and that sort of thing, so they're not readable anymore, but I like to take the pages and kind of tear them and make them into these unique sculptures. So this is one I made out of a book I found, and I also combined it with a Yu-Gi-Oh card box I found with some dragons, because I am totally obsessed with dragons and that sort of thing. And I just added in some watercolor that I'd done that was scrapped over from a project I'd worked on and that sort of thing. So that was the first one that I ever did. And the base was actually a PVC pipe that the highway crew had left behind because they just finished remodeling. And this was my next project, which is a little fragile still. Still working out some kinks on this one. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it exactly how it's supposed to be, but basically the idea with this one is, move over here, you can see behind here, this is actually a piece of metal off of a car or something, and these are boards and twigs they found, branches. But this is one of my favorite things because this is the front of a very, very expensive, fancy smartphone. That's it's a Schneider Kirchhoff, which is like, oh my gosh, I love iPhone photography, and I remember looking at these babies when they first came, just totally drew it. I've never had one, but I think it'd be totally awesome if I did someday. But
Hey, Bob, your microphone is reverberating. Can you move back a little from your device? There, is that better? That's better. Okay, there it is.
So if you look here, the camera was still completely intact, but this phone was smashed beyond repair. So what I did was I took the cover of it off, and then you can look through the viewfinder on the camera, and it takes you through to this, which slides back and forth, which I can't show you with my camera on this phone. But I also like to find playing cards. Like, I think some of these are like cards, some of them are like poker cards. You'd be shocked the amount of poker cards that get thrown away. I'm not sure why, but I'm sure there's an interesting story. But that's that one. That one doesn't have a name yet. That's more of the Yu-Gi-Oh dragon. And again, still working out the kinks on that. But that's one of my favorites for the idea of the viewfinder. And this is my latest project that I've been working on. This one's called Tree of Knowledge. Again, these are smashed up foam parts I've found, smashed up computer parts, different types of lug nuts, just more books that I found thrown away. People throw away Star Wars music, so this for Star Wars fans watching basically the Star Wars theme music on this one, which I just enjoy. And I really like this one because it's got all these different things on it, and this is my favorite thing at the top here. Someone's thrown away a TV remote, and I put options at the top of the tree because I think that's the most important thing about when you learn to get some options. So that's that one. I really, really like that one. Just things I found around where I live, and I like doing this sort of work because it makes me feel good because I'm helping keep my environment cleaner, and instead of just throwing these things away, they find a way to be useful and beautiful. So that's that. And
what's the campus behind you? The one that's in process?
that one, this is some of my acrylic and watercolor work I'm working on right now. This one, I started, yeah, I have a weird art habit. Like when I can't sleep, I just get up and I start listening to Prince and just kind of painting whatever comes to mind. This one I started painting when I was listening to his Love Symbol album, which is one of my favorites. So that one was just kind of inspired by his work and Mikey Garcia's dancing. I really enjoy watching her, and that one's not quite finished yet, but that's what I started that one. That was my inspiration for that one. It's just kind of fun and funky and just something that I like doing in the middle of the night.
I like the colors.
Oh, thank
I
you.
do too. I like the design. That looks great.
Oh, thank you so much.
And
Yeah.
then what's the story on your sneakers there that are there on the?
Oh, this is a new thing I've started doing because I am totally obsessed with Prince because I'm also a musician, and him and Andre Bocelli are basically my heroes for people that I would want to imitate and learn from. But these are sneakers I made because I've never really found Prince sneakers online. I mean, I know they're there, but they're like crazy expensive. So I just decided I was going to make my own. And
I love that cake.
I just decided to make my own with some of my favorite lyrics from my favorite songs. So this shoe has lyrics from his 7 song from Love Symbol, which is one of my favorites, also one of Anna's favorites. And then if I untie this, tongue has some kind of cool stuff on it as well. Because I undo this, and these guys have walked quite a ways with me, so they are not in pristine left the store condition anymore. But this on the tongue, it has the Purple Rain lyrics, which I really enjoy that song as well. I know it's kind of cliche to say that, but it's a great song. And I got his book called The Beautiful One, and I got that one, and I loved reading how he would write his music because instead of writing like the letter I, he would draw an I. So I tried to kind of go with that style when I wrote these lyrics out. And then on this one, I put the lyrics from Raspberry Beret, which I also really enjoy that one. And I have to say, I think this one is, I couldn't really pick a favorite between the two, but I really like how this one's tongue flipped out on this shoe because this is pretty cool design-wise. Open it up, you can see, probably should have unlaced this before I started the video. But if you unlace it, you can see that pretty cool. Got him and as the love symbol, which I really like that, how that turned out. I think that turned out pretty cool.
It did.
Those are my Prince sneakers. So yeah, I like to obsess about things. And I also have this that I made, which is kind of a compilation of some of my favorite lyrics from different songs he did. Everything from When Doves Cry to Blue Light to pretty much everything from all the songs of his that I loved. I just included just a couple of lyrics and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then over here, I can move that, that. Here I have some of my illustration work that I've done. So just a second here. Grab my stuff. Yeah, so this is some of the work I've done as illustration. This was someone wanted me to illustrate the book of Esther for them. So I went through and each chapter I got illustrated. It got 2 pages per chapter usually. This I worked on when I was in high school. And it's not been published yet. I'm hoping to get it published one of these days, but unfortunately I don't still have the original, but I have the photocopies for most of it. I've moved around a lot and didn't make it out with the whole book, but I did illustrate the entire book with watercolor. So that was a fun project. It took me a couple of years. But yeah, that was a fun project just to work on something that was that large scale. I enjoyed doing that. I mostly like working with projects. I don't really do that much standalone artwork, or if I do standalone artwork, it's for something that eventually is going to be a project. And like this is the cover for my new manga book that I'm working on. I can't really show anything more because of online stuff, but this is the cover for what I'm working on, my new manga book, which will be exciting. It's my first manga book. Yeah, so that's kind of everything that I've got to show you guys. Oh, wait.
You're also working on a Sherlock Holmes mini manga book. Is that correct?
Yeah, that one is going to be great. You and I are working on that one together because Anna here wrote this amazing series. It is my favorite that she's written. She's written a lot of series, but this one's my favorite that she's written. And it's called Ms. Holmes. It's on Amazon. It's really cool. And so we were talking about it, and she said, basically, wouldn't it be cool if this was like a manga? And I said, yeah. And so we're kind of working on a very simplistic manga for the Ms. Holmes. So we'll probably have that out.
And we're also working on securing funding to make a 3-part series that would be released online as a film series.
Yeah, that'll be really fun. It's going to be really fun, really quirky. Yeah, you guys should definitely check that series out because it's one of my favorites. Yeah, and oh, I just remembered I have some work that I did for different things I paint with watercolors. These are some of the things I like to paint. And these are all watercolors. These aren't acrylics. These are just watercolors. This is BB-8 because I'm a huge Star Wars geek.
Oh, he has Ray in his eye. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about the book that Blade Runner was based off of about the robots dream of electric sheep, and I was thinking, what would BB-8 dream about? And I was like, of course he dreamed about Ray. And so that sort of thing. And this is a painting I did for a while. I found a really cheap place to live on an island in Maine. I know that sounds crazy, but for like about a month I lived on this island, and this was a painting of the view of the mainland at night, and that was a really cool experience. I really enjoyed living there. That was fun. I liked all the different things that were there, and yeah, I'm obsessed with goldfish and that sort of thing.
What's the art form on the petals? Is that really petals?
Nope, that's just watercolors. But they kind of look. That one turned out really well. I was really happy about that. That was a Valentine's Day project I was working on because I love Valentine's Day because it's a pink holiday and I love pink. It's my favorite color.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's just some things that I've done over the years that I've painted, that I've worked on, and that one I really like how that one turned out. And this was some sketches I did for my children's book that I wrote called High Tide, Bye Tide, which is on Amazon, which is it's a really fun little book I wrote. It's for like small children, but
Yes,
Anybody's gonna read
it was a
one.
bestseller on there too, on the top 100 list. So
Yeah,
yeah.
for some reason it waded into the top seller for international children's folk tales, which I had no idea was an international children's folk tale. But I'll take it, thank you. But it's just kind of a little story about the tide and what it leaves behind and what it brings and that sort of thing. I'm obsessed with anything to do with tides and all the lovely creatures it leaves and that sort of thing. So
And then you also did some Maine photography photo books that are available on Amazon, Spring by the Sea and Meandering Through Maine, which is an
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I did do that. I also really like smartphone photography and been doing that for probably about 5 years. Yeah, I've done mostly work for myself. I've done also some portraits for some local businesses that needed some portraits done. I really enjoy doing portraits and I love taking photos. I love editing photos. That's where I really enjoy taking things and taking a photo that's pretty good or not so great and making it look really fantastic. That's what I really enjoy doing. And yeah.
And then also, some of your work was taken and made into photo journals. So like the cover is a photo and then it's a line journal, and that's available on Amazon too. Is that right?
Yeah, I've got a couple. I probably have about 10 to 12 journals available. It's got some of my photography on the front, and then people can write inside and that sort of thing. So yeah, those are pretty fun. And
And
I
oh, yeah.
yeah, I've always liked doing photography. It's I started when I was about I think it was about 5 when I took my first photograph, and yeah, I was on vacation in Colorado, and my mom had this really cool camera that was like, it had a lens and it had film in it, and I totally geek out over those sort of things. And I was looking at it really desperately, and my mom was like, "Okay, do you want to take one picture? I'll let you take one picture if you're very, very careful." And so she showed me where the button was, and I got this camera and I took one picture, and I just was like, "Oh my gosh, I love doing this." And yeah, I love doing photography and I love doing painting because they're both kind of similar mediums, but with photography, I like it because you can accurately capture what's right in front of you, and photos won't lie. I mean, if you take an accurate photograph, that's what's there is there. And with painting, it's like you can paint off of a photograph and you can embellish it and you can change it, but sometimes it's not as accurate as I'd like them to be. So it's kind of fun working between the two mediums to see basically what I can capture between the two of them. So yeah.
And then also, you recently released a song on YouTube, Nasum Dorma, and you
Yeah.
also have Vised the Arte, is that correct, on the Handwork channel?
Yeah, the Arte and Nessun Dharma are two of my favorite opera songs because I really enjoy listening to opera, and that's one of my goals is to be a singer that sings opera and combines it with rock and pop music just to kind of create a new type of fusion. Because I'm very passionate about music and want all of the things that it can do because I think that music is something that you don't even have to understand the language that it's written in for it to make an impression, and it's just it's such a powerful medium to me because it can just transcend any barrier, and it's just an incredible thing to listen to and have in our world, you know.
Well, thank you, B Hope. Does anyone have any questions? We decided to combine the panel and the chat just because yesterday morning people wanted to sleep in, and so we thought we'd just make it a little later so that some people could enjoy it that wouldn't be able to otherwise. And so that's the combination. But does anyone have any questions or things to say here before we close the chat?
So did you take any classes for art or music, or are you self-taught? I'm just curious.
I'm actually self-taught in both of those. I started painting and drawing ever since I can remember, and pretty much the same with music. Ever since I was tiny, I was always writing songs. Even before I could write, I was just writing down, singing things, and I never really took it very seriously until about 4 years ago when I got my second opera, and I just completely fell in love, and I was like, it really just changed my life, and I thought I have to have this be a part of who I am and what I'm going to do. And so now I'm going to college to study voice, and so
Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
it's going to be exciting to see where this goes.
That's great.
Thank you.
And
Well,
I've got
thank
no
you.
questions, but good luck with everything you do there.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Annika, and thank you everybody who's watching. And just remember, if you like what you're watching and you'd like to support us and the COVID fund we have, you can buy a ticket, or you can go to our Patreon page, make a donation of any amount. And just thank you so much to everybody who's watching. Just stay safe and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Hi. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everybody.